For the subjects of our next story, it's truly a dog's life. Here's Martha Teichner.
For Best in Show at the 150th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is the Doberman Pinscher.
A very big ribbon for a very big honor, winning Best in Show.
Look up here.
But especially special this year, the 150th anniversary of the Westminster Dog Show.
All of us that do this dream about winning this. You know, just like an NFL player dreams about winning the Super Bowl, this is our Super Bowl.
For handler Andy Linton, Penny's win was his second Westminster Best in Show, 37 years after the first. A career-capping triumph as Parkinson's disease forces him to dial back.
Oh, you're so nice. Is she always this nice?
She's always that nice unless you're a burglar or a squirrel.
She was so excellent, and she also stole my heart.
For Best in Show judge David Fitzpatrick, the honor of choosing was a privilege earned.
The Pekingese.
A two-time Best in Show winner himself, most recently in 2021 with his Pekingese, Wasabi. This year was his 53rd Westminster. But wait, let's rewind. Go back 1 week and counting before the big night.
Here's Wasabi.
Wasabi.
David Fitzpatrick was at home in rural Pennsylvania, taking me on a tour of just some of the loot his dogs have won over the years. All the silver and ribbons upstaged.
Here's a lovely little puppy.
By the puppies.
They're so
Like a huddle.
cute.
You can't tell the heads from the tails.
Have you ever seen Pekingese puppies?
Look at those babies.
These are 5-day-old Maltese.
How old were you there?
I think I was maybe 19.
Fitzpatrick was obsessed with dogs as a kid in Wilmington, Delaware, but wasn't allowed to have one. So, as a teenager, he started working with other people's dogs.
I was just immersed into this world of dogs and dog shows, and I was just so happy. You know, once I became, older and I wasn't living at home, I hated going home because every time I'd go home, my father would be like, when are you going to get a real profession? You just can't play with dogs your whole life. And I'd be like, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
He worked his way up to top-level handler, breeder, and finally respected dog show judge. Preparing for Westminster, as he brushed up on the breed standards for the more than 200 breeds entered. His biggest priority?
Just basically try not to fall and break a leg or get food poisoning or do anything that's going to sabotage the event.
The first Westminster Dog Show was in 1877. Its mascot then, its logo now, a pointer named Sensation. For most of its history, the show has been held at Madison Square Garden.
Sure, there's the dog show, and it's serious, and it's important, and it's iconic. But what really thrills me is that so many people come together just because they love dogs.
Every day can be Bring Your Dog to Work Day for Donald Sturz, president of the Westminster Kennel Club since 2022. He hasn't missed a Westminster since he was 10 years old, competing in junior showmanship.
I was showing our dog Clyde, who was this big blonde golden retriever who I could barely see over the top of. I was unfortunately one of those children who had some challenging times in school. I had a lot of bullying experiences. After a difficult day to come home and the dogs are jumping up and down and the tails are wagging, as a child, that's a wonderful counterbalance, right, when things are not so great otherwise.
As Best in Show judge in 2022, Sturz picked Trumpet the Bloodhound as the winner.
This way, Pablo.
So we thought we'd ask him how a judge judges, demonstrating on my dogs, both bull terriers.
Pablo.
Pablo wanted nothing to do with any of it.
Oh, girly, are you ever special?
But Girly, a rescue,
You're going to go around the ring this direction.
loved her moment in an honest-to-goodness Westminster ring.
So the judge is going to be looking at the head, and as we know, a bull terrier has an egg-shaped head.
Girly's show dog wannabe ambitions were rewarded with a ribbon.
Oh my God.
Good girl.
That was last Sunday afternoon. Meanwhile, at the New Yorker hotel, where most of the dogs and their people stay, a logjam in the lobby.
What a beautiful dog.
We happened upon Jet, a standard poodle, and his owner-handler, 23-year-old Gia Giuffrida.
What are all the blue things?
His hair is like 9 or 10 inches long, so it just keeps it protected while he's being a dog.
On Monday, D for dog, day one,
Pitch number 30. Pitch number 32.
we saw 2 shows going on. The official one, the breed judging taking place in 10 different rings, and the unofficial and lovably goofy one in the benching area where dogs waited to compete.
He'd do anything for me.
We checked out Jet, compliantly getting his hair done.
We just take these bands out of his hair, and then we'll brush through it with a pin brush, and then we'll end up blowing it through it with a blow dryer, and then at the end we spray him up with hairspray.
A 2.5-hour process. And then it was showtime.
A place like this with all the crowd and the excitement, he just thrives off of it. He knows, he looks at me and we just go do it together.
Together, they won Best of Breed. Maybe we brought them luck. By Tuesday evening, the field had narrowed to 7 Best of Group winners. Wall-to-wall fans screamed and cheered as the finalists circled Madison Square Garden.
New York crowds are pretty rambunctious, so I'm going to try to tune it out, yet, I don't know if that's possible.
As David Fitzpatrick approached the ring, he had no idea which dogs were out there. The Best in Show judges sequestered. Until the big reveal.
A good example of any breed is beautiful, really. Your heart skips a beat to see something absolutely near perfect that nature could be so kind to let happen.
The Doberman Pinscher.
But it was Penny's night.
Steve Hartman this morning has a Father's Day story that will warm the hearts of dog parents everywhere.
No parent has a favorite child, but my kids are convinced that I do.
Ready.
And they have a point.
Good girl. I'm so proud of you.
I adore Birdie. Although, as my wife Andrea loves to remind me, getting the dog wasn't exactly my idea.
He did not want the responsibility.
That's
he did
true.
not want the hassle.
Yep.
He did not want the money.
Okay.
He felt like our lives were full already.
They got
He
the
felt
idea.
Everything was going to fall on him.
Point made.
And I just decided that I was going to do it by myself.
She went rogue and got this Australian Labradoodle. I didn't touch the beast for weeks.
And he was kind of just like being critical.
But eventually the bond between him and the dog strengthened.
But didn't want to let any of us know that because of his pride.
Yeah.
All true. It's embarrassing to admit now, especially to her face. But I take comfort in knowing that I am far from alone.
Not long ago, we put out a call on Facebook looking for other formerly reluctant dog dads. We got hundreds of replies about guys who fought getting a dog tooth and nail.
We had a new house that had hardwood floors.
We had white carpet.
Can't really take them with you on vacation.
Just really kind of a nuisance.
But, like me, each one had a profound conversion.
He kind of stole my heart. We go everywhere together.
Definitely the best thing that ever could have happened, that's for sure.
Men do have soft hearts. It's just sometimes it takes a fur ball to crack through that hard-headed, practical outer layer. Dogs can do that. In fact, it's one of their best tricks.
It's almost like dogs know who they have to win over.
I hope that this piece encourages all the dads out there on the fence about getting a dog to listen to their wife.
Good suggestion, guys. Otherwise, one day, you may be forced to do the unthinkable.
I had to say, I'm sorry. You're right. I hate to admit it, but she was right.
I'd have to say she was right.
And I suppose I should now join that chorus and tell my wife I was wrong. But this isn't Mother's Day.
Healthy eating isn't just for humans. Einstein here is hungry. Nancy Giles on dogs and diet.
In a land known for marquees and famous signs, there's probably no sign that's more on the nose. Inside Just Food for Dogs in Hollywood, California, customers are sampling today's offerings, while their owners stock up on the food. Sarah Rector and her French bulldog Lulu are buying her regular order, including beef with russet potato and venison with squash.
As opposed to like the commercial dog food, you can get the kibble. Does feeding this make you feel better about Lulu, about her care?
Yeah, I just know that she's getting the best possible ingredients and health and overall wellness.
Do you have children too, or?
Not yet. We do have another French bulldog, so I feel like we have kids.
It's tempting to write this off as a trendy LA fad, but Just Food for Dogs president Carrie Tischler says this store is here because of a permanent shift in the roughly $50 billion U.S. pet food industry.
People think that fresh food it's bougie or it's fancy or it's gourmet. The last year of research shows that 82% of families think of pets as family or as children, and that's up significantly.
Joe Ovalle is Just Food's guest experience manager. He says all of their pet food is approved by the USDA for human consumption.
It is human grade food, so something you and I could eat. As a matter of fact, let me try our famous recipe, the fish and sweet potato.
You're really going to do that?
Look at this. Oh my God, it's like ceviche.
It may seem a bit indulgent and can cost double the price of kibble, but some say that feeding our dogs natural food is what we should have been doing all along. And making it yourself can cost the same as buying food at the store.
It's about going back to what is biologically appropriate that they ate for tens of thousands of years. They ate prey animals and table scraps. So I'm just educating people on how to go back to what they ate for tens of thousands of years prior to commercial pet food.
Christine Filardi is a pet nutritionist and author of Home Cooking for Your Dog. It's a cookbook offering recipes with what she says are the three necessities: animal protein, a carb, and a veggie, as well as a few extravagant treats.
We have some bacon and cream cheese muffins.
Filardi says whether it's store-bought or home-cooked fresh food, the results are the same. Well-fed animals live longer, have cheaper vet bills, and are happier, which makes the owners happy too.
So it's worth it to make this kind of investment in our pets, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
They take such good care of us, we should take good care of them.
With Martha Teichner this morning, we're heading to Vermont to visit a landmark that's sacred ground for dog lovers everywhere.
Look, it's me.
Girlie, come on. If you want the treat, you have to sit. Sit.
Good girlie. And my dog, Girlie.
Hey, Girlie. That's a perfect name.
At Dog Mountain, having a good time on a beautiful fall day.
Look at his tail, Girlie.
If Dog Mountain were just a joyful place where dogs can run around or plop into a nice pond, it would still be pretty special. 150 dog-friendly acres in the scenic hills of northern Vermont. But there is much, much more to this story. It's actually a real tearjerker, sweet but sad. It began in 1994 when artist Stephen Huneck was injured falling down a flight of stairs, his injury causing him to develop a rare, often fatal lung condition.
I was dead for like 5 minutes, not breathing.
And I was in a coma for over 2 months, and they really pretty much wrote me off.
Hunek and his wife Gwen, more than a decade ago, reliving the nightmare.
I said to myself, well, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to believe he's going to get better.
And he did.
I had to learn to walk again, and my dogs really took care of me. We would go for short walks in the woods, and they really stayed right with me.
His dogs became the subjects of the now famous woodcuts he was finally strong enough to make. His black lab, Sally, featuring in a series of best-selling children's books he wrote and illustrated. And then came his vision.
I remember the moment perfectly, where I had this idea popped into my mind, was build a chapel for dogs and for people.
He built it himself with this sign out front. There are carved dogs everywhere, even a dog angel on top of the steeple. There are dogs inside, some real, some not. The chapel opened in 2000 and is, more than anything, a room full of love. It's overwhelming.
It makes me happy, despite crying, to come back and see, and I feel like this is the place that they're buried, and that we come back and visit every year.
Every inch of every wall, floor to ceiling, has been covered with layers and layers of photographs and messages people have left, mourning the dogs they've lost, and the occasional cat, missing them. Heather Berkey drove 7.5 hours from outside Philadelphia to honor her Vizsla, Lexi, who had died a few weeks before from cancer. She brought some of Lexi's ashes to spread.
I'm free. I love you. I love you, Lexi. To have her up here and free. I don't know.
Does it help?
There's no words.
How many places are there where society lets you grieve for a dog with all your heart, the way you would a person? The way I have dogs in my life. Do you believe that dogs go to heaven?
I would like to think yes.
Susan Oladol is an Episcopal priest.
I come here almost every day. I volunteer here.
Whose ministry includes comforting people at Dog Mountain.
Stephen Hunek has a great whimsical piece of art that's entitled "A Dog Has a Soul," and the dog is holding the shoelace with a shoe attached.
For all the humor in his work, Stephen Hunek struggled with depression. Here's the sad part of this story. Afraid he would have to close Dog Mountain and his gallery as a result of the Great Recession, in January 2010, Hunek died by suicide. 3 years later, his wife, Gwen, took her own life. You have a place of joy, you have a place of love, but you also have the suicides of Stephen and Gwen. How do you square that with the wonder of the place?
I don't think they're to be squared. It's only a piece of a story, and the story of what they have left behind, this gift, is where most other people and myself are greatly impacted by.
The Hunek's dream lives on.
One of the things that the Huneks kind of realize is every little child that's ever fallen in love with the Sally books, when they get to come to Dog Mountain and actually meet the Sally, it's one of those things that they feel so special.
Amanda McDermott is creative director of Dog Mountain, and the person who cares for the current Sally. So this is just like a postcard.
Oh, it's beautiful up here.
There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space.
3 times a year, Dog Mountain has a party.
I'm looking for some dancers out in the crowd today.
Hundreds of dogs and their people show up. This one was in October. It was a free-to-all, free-for-all.
Whoops, I'm sorry. Girlie!
But in spite of all the playful chaos, I managed a quiet moment to slip into the chapel and find a place to leave my message, to tell the dogs I've lost that I love them still, and hope that wherever they are, they know.
From Steve Hartman this morning, thoughts on the importance of putting your best paw forward.
A lot of dogs think they're human, but Dexter takes it to a whole nother level, to the point where I can now safely say, I have seen everything. Dexter lives here in Ouray, Colorado, where for the past few years, this bicolor, bipedal Brittany Spaniel has been turning heads wherever he goes. Dexter's owner, Kenty Pasick, says this isn't a trick she taught. It's an adaptation he made after a near-death experience.
Hey, come on.
When Dexter was a puppy, he escaped his yard, darted into traffic, and got hit by a car. He lost one front leg and the other was badly damaged. So everyone assumed, to get around, he would need some kind of adaptive equipment. And he did use a wheelchair for a while, until one day when Kenty set the pooch at the foot of her porch without the wheelchair.
And I ran in to go get my cup of coffee, came out, and he was right here where he is right now. And I was like, how is this going on?
How did you figure it out?
I put him back down there and I grabbed my phone to see what was going on.
Here is the video she recorded.
And I was like, oh, we're into something totally different.
You never know where life's gonna take you.
You never know.
In the 6 years since, Dexter has become a full-blown celebrity, starring in parades and building a legion of social media followers who now come here from across the country just hoping for a glimpse of Ouray's most upstanding citizen.
Follow him on Instagram. Oh, good.
The whole thing takes absurdity to new heights, but to many, Dexter is no joke. In this pile of mail he receives monthly
Comes in droves.
are hundreds of letters of heartfelt gratitude.
I'm recovering from intensive radiation treatments for breast cancer, and you certainly bring joy to my day.
Where humans see obstacles,
I mean, just...
often dogs beg to differ.
Dexter shows us, why aren't you out there writing the book you want to write? Why aren't you out there doing the things you want to do? Because he has.
Off he goes.
And in doing so has proven that sometimes getting knocked down is the only way to see how tall you stand.
Some 300 search dog teams combed the wreckage of Ground Zero in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, which brings us to this tale of dogged determination from Luke Burbank.
9/11 was undoubtedly one of the darkest moments in our nation's history. But the attacks and the days after also brought out heroes of all kinds. Some of them on 4 legs.
Can't put a price on them. That smoke you see over there, they can smell through that, and we can't.
Among them was Anna, a dog trained to find humans in the tangled rubble, all at the direction of her handler, Rick Lee, a firefighter from Sacramento.
Overall, kind of reminded me of the old World War II films of London being bombed because everything had no color, it was all gray, everything's destroyed.
20 years later, Lee still vividly remembers searching what had been Building 7 of the World Trade Center.
There had been heavy equipment working there for several hours, and they saw the dogs. They asked if we could search the area. We got up on the pile. You can hear a pin drop. We searched the area, and dogs didn't detect any human scent, live human scent.
Which was important because it allowed rescuers to move on to other sections of Ground Zero, where there might be survivors. Lee and his dog knew what they were doing, due in no small part to Wilma Melville, a retired gym teacher from Central California.
I wanted to learn to train a dog to do something special. Showing a poodle is not, to me, particularly special. But learning to train a dog to find a person who might be alive after a disaster, that's special.
Well into her 50s, Melville and her beloved dog Murphy learned the art of search and rescue. And their first deployment was Oklahoma City.
We've had an explosion downtown. We've had an explosion. We need help.
168 people died in Oklahoma City. That got branded on my heart.
While searching the rubble, Melville noticed something.
I could see firsthand that although we have many really terrific civilian dog handlers, I saw that for the first 2 days, the firefighters, meaning the task force, stood back and wondered, what are we going to do with these civilians?
And so she returned home to California with a plan. Start a nonprofit, the National Disaster Search Dog Foundation, that would do something that hadn't been done before. Train firefighters and dogs together, free of charge. The kicker? She'd get most of the dogs from rescue shelters.
Kind of looking for a dog that's got a really, really high drive that really doesn't make a good pet. They're going to run on the rubble. They're going to do everything just to get that toy and that reward. So they have to be really, really drivey.
Jason Vasquez is an LA County fire captain. He says search dogs use their keen noses, search, and outsized enthusiasm to find humans and human remains in disasters.
Yeah, nice job, buddy. Don't pull her all the way out.
They're using 100% smell. They use the sight to get over the rubble, okay, but their nose is 100% working, and that's how they find somebody.
There are a number of folks out here. How does the dog know to go look for the one guy that's hiding in a barrel?
It's kind of like somebody playing like a little kid game, hide and seek. The person that's out and they can see them, you're not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one I can't see that's hard to find.
The foundation's headquarters in Santa Paula, California, are a sort of search dog Disneyland.
Where are they, bud? Where are they?
With simulated collapsed freeways, leaning buildings, and many piles of rubble and wrecked cars.
Wait. Search!
It's the only facility of its kind in the U.S., built specifically for dogs to learn search and rescue.
I had an ambition, once the Search Dog Foundation got going, to create 168 FEMA-certified teams, one for each person that died in Oklahoma City. And just last year, this agency made it to the 168th mark.
An incredible accomplishment for an organization that survives solely on donations and love for these animals. I find it interesting because it seems like you possess the characteristics that you're looking for in these dogs.
I suspect that's exactly true. And so does any person who is a success in whatever they venture to do. You can't be stopped by 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hurdles. You can't be stopped because it's difficult. You can't be stopped because people say, why are you doing that? You can't be stopped by anything.
And now one of our Sunday best. From Connor Knighton, a story of dogged determination.
On this 100-degree day in El Paso, a Texas Terrier named Tumble is enjoying a bit of fresh air while trying to beat the heat. However, most of Tumble's time is spent here, inside a cage at El Paso Animal Services. She was brought to the shelter after she was found out on the street, her head trapped in a fence.
Usually on any given year, we have 25,000 to 30,000 animals come through the door. Good girl.
Kylie Young's job is to help get those animals out the door.
Come on.
But there are far more dogs in El Paso than there are willing adopters. It's a common story at shelters in several cities. But it's not the story in every city.
My jaw just dropped. I didn't know. I mean, I'm living in a cocoon in Jackson where, you know, life is good and everybody has a dog and all the dogs are well taken care of and the shelter is empty.
Peter Rourke is a retired orthopedic surgeon based in Jackson, Wyoming. He's loved dogs ever since he was a boy.
I like dogs better than most people I know. I mean, they're just pure of heart and pure of soul.
Rourke also happens to be a part-time pilot. When he retired from medicine, he realized that he might be able to help connect some of the towns that have full shelters to towns full of willing adopters. So he took the seats out of his plane and took to the skies, co-founding the nonprofit Dog is My Co-Pilot.
The mission is stated to fly or transport the dogs from the areas that have a high euthanasia rate to areas that will never put down a healthy animal.
A typical day might involve loading up a plane full of animals in Merced, California, and then dropping them off to receiving partners in Portland, Seattle, and Missoula, Montana.
What's the maximum number of animals you'd have on a flight?
251.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did that smell like?
You have no idea. It's an amazing olfactory experience.
Rourke began his rescue flights in 2012, just a few months after the sudden death of his wife, Meg. He was distraught, desperately searching for a new direction.
My wife passed away. I was in the darkest place that you can imagine. A mutual friend of ours called me and said, you know, Peter, you need to knock this off. Meg would want you to be happy, so get out there.
And out there he went. To date, Dog is My Co-Pilot has flown more than 19,000 animals. Mostly dogs, with a few cats thrown in.
That's way more of an impact that I ever made as an orthopedic surgeon, you know, and it's so it's so much more rewarding.
72 animals are waiting for Rourke at the El Paso airport at 4 a.m. on a Sunday, including a tired Tumble. Once everyone is safely loaded onto the plane, Rourke is off. After stops in Salt Lake City and Sun Valley, the animals descend into Troutdale, Oregon, just outside Portland. There, an army of volunteers is waiting to help unload the dogs and get them to their new homes.
I think I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, good boy.
Julie Zagrins with Portland's One Tail at a Time rescue noticed a huge increase in adoption interest once COVID hit.
People were just overwhelmed by how many applications that we had to process, and it's a great problem to have. So, you know, we want to find everyone a dog.
Zagrins found Tumble a home with Portlanders Andrea Fielder and Matt Schmidt. It turns out their backyard kiddie pool is Tumble's favorite hangout spot. Some Texas habits die hard.
You're home, Tumble. You're home. This doesn't look like Texas, does it?
Back at the airport, an empty plane means a successful trip for Peter Rourke. He'll be back here in 2 weeks to do it all over again, hitting a half dozen other towns in the meantime.
Did this help you find a purpose?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, people say, wow, you're out saving dogs. And I'm thinking, I really think they saved me. They got me back out in the world again.
Our Nancy Giles has talked with people from all walks of life, but she's never been in conversation with anyone quite like Stella.
Get out of your water dish.
Anyone who's ever had one knows this much.
You're not going to dehydrate.
Dogs have plenty to say. Which begs the question, what if dogs could talk? I mean, with actual words. Now we could have an answer, thanks to Christina Hunger and Stella. What gave you the idea to teach your dog to talk?
It was all my work as a speech therapist.
Hunger is a speech and language pathologist.
I was working with kids every day who used communication devices to talk, And I was also working with toddlers who were developing their language.
These devices are called AAC, Augmentative and Alternative Communication. By pressing buttons on a screen, people with speech disorders are able to express themselves.
Utensils. Spoon.
Yeah, I'll get you a spoon.
When I brought Stella home, I just saw these insane similarities between what she was doing to communicate to us and what toddlers do right before they start using words.
Stella, now 2 years old, is a Catahoula and Australian cattle dog mix. Christina and her husband Jake McClunky found her through an ad on Craigslist.
In the first days that I was with Stella, she was a little puppy, and I ordered some recordable buttons right away. I started with outside, play, and water. About a month in, she started saying her first word, and from there, we just kept adding vocabulary as we went.
So Stella's board grew. No treats needed.
You want outside again?
Go. After all, this isn't a trick. Stella speaks when she has something to say.
How different is what you're teaching Stella than simple commands? Like normally, you know, sit, shake hands, lie down, stay, and that sort of thing.
I didn't want her to just be mindlessly obedient towards me. I know she's an independent thinker, and I wanted her to be able to express herself.
And when Hunger posted videos of Stella using her board on social media, the idea took off.
And in the past year, thousands of people have started teaching their dogs. It's grown far beyond what I've done, and that's when you know it's becoming a movement. It's beyond me, it's beyond Stella.
With all the letters pouring in, Hunger decided to write about it.
I think it's really going to bring us a lot closer together to the animals we share our environment with. I think there's a lot more similarities than society realizes right now.
While Stella might be the star of this show, Christina Hunger hopes all the attention will shed more light on her first love, the humans who rely on AAC.
When we believe in someone's potential and really give them time and patience, incredible things can happen. There's a whole world going on in their minds, and there's so much that they are wanting to say, and they just need the right tools and the right person to help them.
Or in this case, the right Stella.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Stella! Stella! Stella!
Believe it or not, humor writer Dave Barry is about to turn 72, and he's getting the mail to prove it.
I'm getting old. It feels like half the mail I get these days is urging me to prearrange my funeral. I used to get interesting, even exciting mail. Granted, a lot of it was from Ed McMahon telling me I might already have won $17 million. He was lying, of course, but at least his letters were upbeat. Now I get mail about old person things. Funerals, hearing aids, catheters. That's right, I get catheter mail. I also get a lot of letters from ARP. ARP is, of course, the last sound you make before you die. ARP! But it's also a big national organization dedicated to helping us old people deal with being old, by telling us that age doesn't really matter, that we shouldn't let it limit us, that no matter how old we get, we can still do anything we set our minds to. This is also a lie, of course. I mean, no matter what, aging is kind of a bummer. For people, anyway. But not for dogs.
Anytime you feel like making a wee-wee, let us know, Luce.
My dog, Lucy, turned 10 around the same time I turned 70. So if you go by dog years, we're the same age. But I've noticed that Lucy seems a lot happier in her old age than I am. Everything makes her happy and excited.
You want to go for a walk? Do you?
Like when it's time for her walk, I'll be like, oh man, I gotta walk the dog. But Lucy sees the leash, she's like, a walk? What a great idea. How do you think this stuff up? Lucy also loves to make new friends. I almost never make new friends. I'm not even sure all my old friends are still alive. But Lucy immediately makes friends with everybody she meets. She has way more friends than I do. She also has more fun. Despite her age, she still loves to play. I'll be sitting around reading my catheter mail, and Lucy will come trotting up with some old dog toy in her mouth, taunting me, daring me to try to take it away from her. Lucy may be old, but she finds joy in life, all the time, every day. I envy that. I'm going to try to be more like Lucy, to take the time to enjoy the simple pleasures of life, like play and friendship. I'm going to make a point of doing the things that Lucy does that make her happy. Although I draw the line at drinking from the toilet.
Far from Hollywood, Steve Hartman has the perfect nominee for Best Supporting Performer.
It takes real tenacity to make it on the U.S. women's sled hockey team. But what sets 36-year-old Christy Gardner apart, and what brought us here to Lewiston, Maine, isn't her doggedness. It's her dog.
Let's go.
This is Moxie, Christy's service dog and her hero.
She's absolutely been a lifesaver.
You mean that literally?
Quite literally. That dog saved my life. There you go, kiddo.
Christy, an Army vet, lost both her legs after an attack overseas.
Good girl.
She got Moxie to help with daily tasks. But more importantly, during her darkest days, Christy says her golden retriever was the only thing that stopped her from ending her own life.
The way she would just look at you, her eyes would go right through to your soul. And I felt like I was disappointing her. And so having her by my side was the only reason I didn't kill myself.
Christy is now much better, but she has felt indebted to her dog ever since.
I feel like she deserves so much more.
Unfortunately, there is no good way to repay a debt to a dog.
You my best buddy?
Especially not the magnitude of debt Christy feels she owes Moxie. Which is why, instead of paying it back, she has come up with the sweetest plan to pay it forward.
Meet Tiny Tim. He's not just any puppy. He's a puppy like her.
I gotta go back to class.
Christy has taken Tim and his bum wing under her wing and is now training the pup to be a therapy dog.
We're working on manners.
Ideally, she'd like him to work full-time here at Leeds Elementary, helping kids who feel broken.
There's just so much about him that is so perfect for this little mission of his. I think the kids are gonna say, well, he had all these problems and he didn't give up, and look how happy he is.
But before Tim can be a certified therapy dog,
So soft.
he needs a surgery to amputate his bad leg. Christy had been working multiple jobs to pay for that, until this assembly.
A check for $10,000 to pay for all of Tiny Tim's medical expenses.
Vetra Science, a pet food supplement company, made the donation, delighting both trainer and trainee.
Okay.
Looks like that debt has been repaid in full.
Moxie saves you. You saved Tiny Tim.
And now Tiny Tim's gonna save the town. It's pretty cool.
Very cool, but also exhausting.
Say hello to Gia, a Lagotto Romagnolo, a dog with a very special skill perfectly suited to a taste of summer. And Gia has company, as our John Blackstone discovered.
Ready, set, start.
Please don't sniff at the livestock arena setting. This is the pinnacle of scented sport, the North American Truffle Dog Championship. 24 contestants
3 minutes.
working to catch the carefully buried scent of truffles.
Truffle! Truffle! Truffle!
Only the 5 best noses advance to the final round, hunting for wild truffles deep in a forest near Eugene, Oregon, America's prime truffle country. Oregon's cool, wet weather and dark forests create perfect growing conditions for a fungus noted for its distinctive taste and smell.
Oh, look at that!
But since truffles grow entirely underground, only their scent gives them away.
Autumn truffle?
A dog like Autumn might be considered a favorite. She's a Lagotto Romagnolo, the traditional truffle hunting breed from Italy. But America is a land of opportunity, no matter the breed or pedigree. Here, an underdog can be victorious.
And our grand prize winner, Marcy and Gustav.
What counts is motivation, and Gustav, a Chihuahua mix, had plenty. What's his special talent?
His special talent is he's obsessed with food. He will do anything that you want him to that will get him something to eat. So.
Gustav is now an inspiration to others. Looking on at the award ceremony were dogs enrolled in truffle dog training classes. Deb and Bob Walker teach the two-day seminar, which aims to turn out accomplished truffle hunters. The Walkers spent decades training search and rescue dogs for law enforcement before transitioning to truffles. Can any dog do this?
Almost any dog can do this.
Day one starts with a skill called imprinting. It works like this. Smell the truffle, get a treat.
Good job.
Repeat. Yes.
Good boy.
The potential reward can be much more than a cookie. Wild Oregon truffles sell for as much as $200 a pound, and the culinary world is demanding them.
The Oregon black truffle.
Chef Robin Jackson came to the festival to prepare truffle-inspired dishes. That, after all, is the whole point of a truffle. Can Oregon truffles compete with truffles from Europe that we're so familiar with?
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely different animal.
Problem is, right now, there aren't enough trained dogs to build a thriving truffle industry in Oregon.
Europe is all dog harvested truffles.
I thought it was pigs.
They used to use pigs.
It's pretty much all dogs now. I mean, besides, who wants to put a 300-pound pig in the back of your Subaru?
Right.
Arlene Pulliam's 5-pound terrier mix is certainly a lot easier to handle.
This is Sadie Bug. I came with Sadie because I've got acreage that probably has truffles on it.
Aha.
And that's good exercise for her and I to go do it.
She seemed to do pretty well here.
She's doing a lot better than I expected, yes.
And expectations were high for a 5-month-old black lab named Truffles. How did Truffles come to be named Truffles?
Because I got her with the intention of training her to be a truffle dog.
Oh, don't pull her away.
Of course, it's not just the dogs that need the lessons. You've got to train the handlers as well. Who's more difficult to train, the dog or the handler?
Handler.
Oh, the dogs are easy.
The
dogs are easy. I mean, but think about it. People aren't used to doing all these kind of things with their dog, and it's a whole new skill set for them.
That new skill set is set for a workout on the second day of training, when the novice truffle dogs, along with their humans, head into a forest rich in truffle potential.
Find it. You're a smart dog, but you're not interested in truffles right now.
For little Sadie, there just seemed to be too many distractions.
She's found a mouse hole, I think.
But with the pressure of a namesake on the line, Truffles the Labrador came through.
Truffles, good job. She found her first truffle. I'm so proud of her. I think she's found herself.
After 2 days of training, 23 of the 24 dogs in the beginner's class found truffles. And yes, that even includes little Sadie.
I was headed back downhill. That's all she wanted to do. And I'm tired. So I was just walking along and she stopped and pulled and there it was.
Noodle here seems to be enjoying a dog's life. But what's going on inside that noodle brain? What's day-to-day life like for a dog? Our cover story comes from our resident dog lover, Martha Teichner.
At BarkBox, a New York City company that sends out treats and toys to dogs every month by subscription, people can bring their dogs to work. The office is literally crawling with them. And for employees whose dogs are maybe too big or aren't the office type,
Piggy.
doggy cams are as available as baby monitors.
What's great is it has sound so that I can hear when he shifts, and he can hear me. I can like holler at him, squeak at him. It feels like a way to sort of have a phone conversation.
Come here, pig.
Video producer Zoe Costello watches her dog live.
It's a comfort. It makes me feel good to see him, to see that he's okay, alone.
Right now you're looking at my dog, Monty.
Company controller Matt Hagel is another shameless voyeur.
Sometimes I'll communicate through it to yell at him if he's doing something bad.
And does he respond?
Yeah, he can hear me.
So if you say no, he'll get it.
He'll get it. He may not listen. So normally right when we leave, I think he gets upset. But then after that, he'll just sleep. We leave music on for him, so he likes reggae music.
But the sleep part, that's what most dogs do when they're home alone. The average dog sleeps 12 to 14 hours a day. It's nothing like The Secret Life of Pets. Sorry to disappoint you. The film managed to gross nearly $1 billion and was one of the summer's biggest blockbusters.
You be a good boy, Leonard.
The point of the movie is that the pets' lives start the minute we leave. Is that or is that not true?
I feel like it's the reverse.
Research scientist Alexandra Horowitz studies dog cognition. Her new book is Being a Dog, published by Scribner, a subsidiary of CBS.
They are our social companions. We've bred them to be so. And their existence really revolves around our presence and interaction with us. And that's exactly what they don't have when we leave them.
Pets do have a secret life, though. For dogs, it's not so much about this as it is about this. They experience the world mainly through their noses.
The dog's nose is masterful. It's such an impressive organ.
Humans have about 6 million olfactory receptors. Dogs have 300 million.
They sniff more, and they sniff more rapidly than we do. And that's because they need to get the odors from the outside world all the way up to the epithelial tissue, the cells that do the smelling. And that's really at the back of the nose.
They exhale through those little curled slits on the sides of their noses. And listen to this.
There is some research which shows that dogs use their right and left nostrils differently. So they start out sniffing with the right and then move to the left. And so there's a kind of stereo olfaction.
We gathered a few dogs. Alexandra Horowitz's dog Finnegan, Ricky, and June. My dog Minnie. To see some noses in action.
A pretty classic greeting ritual.
How does a dog know from smelling whether the dog they're meeting is a friend or an enemy?
I don't think there's anything inherently friend or foe about a smell. Maybe younger or older, healthier or less healthy, sick or recently eaten something.
Can they smell fear? Can they smell love?
Yeah, I don't think it's too fantastic to say that in some way they can smell fear, in some way they smell love. And that's because we're giving off odors that correspond to a state of fear or a feeling of affection.
We know about tracking dogs, bomb-sniffing dogs, even bedbug-finding dogs. And now this.
There are now a lot of working dogs who are being trained to detect cancers in urine, on breath, and exhaled breath, on the body.
And would you believe, dogs can also smell time.
If I leave the house in the morning, my house is full of my smell. An hour later, a lot of it will have disappeared.
So, knowing what the room smells like after an 8-hour day.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about dogs who seem to know when their owners are coming home, and they think it might be a kind of psychic ability, but I think it's a smelling ability, essentially, and not smelling their approach, but smelling how long somebody is gone.
Cute, but one not-so-cute side effect of smelling time can be separation anxiety. When dogs go crazy and destroy things when their owners leave.
It's a very big thing. It's like 15 to 17% of the nation's 73 million dogs have overt, obvious separation anxiety.
Dr. Nicholas Dodman recently retired as director of the Animal Behavior Program at Tufts University's Veterinary School. His new book, Pets on the Couch, is published by CBS's Simon & Schuster.
What a beautiful looking dog.
Shadow was returned to a shelter twice before Maya Haraseko adopted him 8 months ago.
He removed wall-to-wall carpeting, just completely demolished the room. And, was breaking air conditioners, breaking window screens, just trying to get out, barking.
Dr. Dodman on a house call to Haraseko's Cambridge, Massachusetts apartment in August.
We're going to kind of get him to expect that when the door closes, wonderful things happen. You just hold him with the collar and slip out.
His advice to Maya? Leave as if it's no big deal, but provide Shadow entertainment. Keep him busy and not bored while she's out. And when she comes back...
The greeting's low-key. You could say, hey, Shadow, how's it going? Slap me for.
And in Shadow's case...
I think also we probably need some kind of medicine, something like, for example, Zoloft.
Dr. Dodman has spent decades advocating using human mood-stabilizing drugs like Zoloft, Prozac, and others on pets because people and animals share the same disorders.
The list would include aggression, phobias, PTSD, obsessive-compulsive disorder, autism, in one model, Tourette's syndrome.
Alzheimer's?
Oh, Alzheimer's too.
For separation anxiety, he prescribes behavior modification first, drugs as a last resort.
Sometimes people are emotionally exhausted, they're financially drained, and they say, if you can't fix this problem within 2 or 3 months, we're going to take him to the pound or we'll have the vet put him to sleep. When I hear that, I say, let's use the medication.
Good news about Shadow. After 3 months following Dr. Dodman's prescription, he can be left alone for at least 4 hours without destroying anything. A secret life tamer than it used to be, but a lot happier for all concerned.
This is Mackie, a Siberian Husky puppy who just may grow up to become a sled dog someday. Same line of work pursued by the dogs that Connor Knighton met at Denali National Park in Alaska.
This is Cupcake.
Oh, hey, Cupcake.
It hurts so much.
If you're anything like me, you're gonna need a minute here. It's okay. Take your time. Get it out of your system. Take a deep breath and say, "Aww."
More puppies. I want all the puppies.
These adorable little guys and girls, 5 of them total, were born in July at Denali National Park. Cupcake, Happy, Party, Pinata, and Hundo were named in honor of the 100th anniversary of the Park Service. Denali, formerly Mount McKinley, turns 100 next year. And these pups are just the latest additions to a legacy of Alaskan sled dogs as old as the park itself. Denali's first superintendent was a veteran dog musher named Harry Karstens, who used a team of sled dogs to patrol the backcountry looking for poachers. As the park grew, it needed the supply of well-trained dogs. Karstens established the first and only working kennel in a national park.
We always joke that they're the happiest government employees you'll ever meet, but it's really, really true. The yard stays always between 30 and 35 dogs.
Jennifer Raffaelli is the current kennels manager at Denali.
Hi, handsome.
Looking after this stable of canine rangers. And while a dog team may seem like a throwback to another era, they're very much in use today.
And the really amazing thing about dog teams in Alaska is that sometimes they still prove to be the most reliable and effective means of transportation in really challenging winter conditions. You know, if you're out at 50 below and you try and start up a snow machine, it may or may not start. At 50 below, I go out and say good morning, these guys all jump up and they're ready to go.
In the frigid winter months, these dogs each run well over 1,000 miles, shuttling supplies and creating trails. They come with a built-in GPS.
Navigationally, do they help you at all?
Oh, incredibly so. I mean, these dogs have brains and hearts and memories better than most rangers.
Perhaps most importantly, they do all of this quietly. In 1980, 2 million acres of Denali were designated as federally protected wilderness. That means no forms of mechanized transport allowed. These dogs were bred to sled. During summer presentations, they show off their skills around the kennel track.
As soon as people see the dogs want to run and pull a sled, that's the highlight of every program for them.
All summer long, the canine rangers get to meet their adoring public. Volunteer walkers help them stay in shape. And the staff takes small groups out to play.
Let's go.
Eventually, after 9 years or so of service, it's time for retirement. The park matches the dogs with active owners like the Winter family.
We still go for our 2-mile runs. That's pretty much a part of her routine.
Aurora ran over 7,000 miles at Denali.
Come on, Aurora.
In her retirement, she's adopted a few new routines.
Does that feel good?
For those who can't bring an actual sled dog home with them, the park has a popular puppy cam. 24 hours a day, visitors can log on and see what the new gang is up to. Each one has his or her own fans. I may be partial to Pinata.
You're a dog whisperer. You've got him pretty comfortable there.
But you know what they say, kids grow up so fast. Before long, these dogs will join their relatives out on the trail, carrying gear and carrying on a tradition more than a century old.